Good day, poker peeps. This is Sky with Smart Poker Study. And in this video, we're going to do a hand reading exercise with a 2-bet call 3-betters range. So on the screen in front of you, we have all the tools that we need for successful hand reading exercise. We have a hand that went to showdown at 25 NL on America's Card Room over here. We have Flopzilla Pro, the best hand reading software. And we have our 2 steps to hand reading, which we'll cover those in detail in just a little bit. We also have Poker's Ultimate Question, what are they doing this with? This is the question you must ask and answer to make reads on your opponent's range and exploit their range. And to help you do that, I have a free PDF called Poker Training, The Ultimate Question. Get it through the link in the description below. Page 1 has the ultimate question along with information, the necessary information that you need to answer it properly. And then starting on page 2, a few examples. Now let's get to the hand reading exercise here. We have Ace Queen offsuit on the button. Couple of folds. Posting 1 big blind. First hand at the table, starting with 80 big blinds. I'm going to classify this player as a fish. He checks. Villain 3, our main villain, 30/20. So I'm reading him as loose aggressive with a decent stack size right here. Decides to ISO raise the standard 3 big blinds plus 1 per limper. So he made it 4. So first we got to ask ourselves, or I guess step 1 in the process is assign a preflop range based on information and actions. So he open raised right here. We got to ask ourselves, what is he doing this with? I'm going to put him on a 30% range. He is, my guess is he's trying to isolate the weakest player at the table. One of the weakest ones, the guy who posted and then checked. I'm going to give him a few more hands. We're going to go a little bit wider than 30% here. We're going to go 32%, but I'm feeling pretty confident in a loose aggressive player's ISO raising range right here. Actions on Hero. Hero has a few options. He can fold. Ace Queen's too good to fold, right? He can call or he can 3-bet. What Hero decides to do is 3-bet to 11 big blinds, and I love this 3-bet. For one thing, the size is great. It puts so much pressure on all the opponents to just fold, and if they all fold, hey, that's 6.4 big blinds, bam, in Hero's stack. I love the size of the 3-bet and the fact that Hero made a 3-bet here. The other thing about this, if we get a call, it's not the end of the world. We've got Ace Queen offsuit, and we're in position on the flop, right? So fold, and then a call. So we have to ask ourselves, once again, what are they doing this with? What is he ISO raising to 4 big blinds and then calling 7 more big blinds? We already have his ISO raising range. So to build his 3-bet calling range, let's remove his 4-betting hands. And because I don't know too much about him, I'm just going to remove the strongest starting hands, queens and better. We also need to remove his folding hands because remember, he chose to call 7 more. He did not fold. I'm going to get rid of all these bad boys, definitely all of these. If I knew more about the player and if I've seen him call 3-bets in the past with something like this, I might keep all of those in. But offsuit, ace-jack, offsuit, and better. Suited hands, let's remove these. Go here. I'm down with king-jack and better. Queen-jack, probably jack-10 because players love to play jack-10. He definitely wants to crack our pocket aces if he has jack-10 right here. I think he can call with that. All this other stuff generally folding. Now, I see so many players, even though I charged him 7 big blinds right here, he's still calling with all those pocket pairs, quite often just to set mine to crack our big pocket pair of aces or kings, you know? So I'm going to keep all those in. So I'm giving him a 10% 3-bet calling range. Now, a really good thing to notice right here is, and this is a lesson learned, not a mistake, but a lesson learned. 3-bet calls are full of broadways and pocket pairs. As you can see, that's the range I am giving this player. So keep that in mind. Every time somebody calls your 3-bet, most likely this is what their range is going to look like, depending on what you really know, your history with the player. Now, we always have to enter our hand in, ace of clubs, queen of diamonds. Hey, 49%. It's basically a chop right now. We're a slight underdog in this hand, but I love that equity. I love the fact that we're the preflop raiser, so if he checks, we can c-bet bluff him off the hand, plus we have position. All right, so let's get to the flop right here. We've got the ace of spades, 5 of diamonds, deuce of diamonds. Remember, we're always paying attention to changing equities, helps develop an intuition for it, so you can use that kind of information as you play. We're a 50-50 chop basically right now, but on the ace high board, we go up to 73% equity. Loving this spot right now. Equity jumps up. Top pair, good kicker, in position. What a great opportunity. Now, villain decides to check, and then hero makes a 1/4 pot c-bet. Now, let me tell you something. I really like the size of this c-bet. The goal right here with the c-bet, it's not to get him to fold. We want to get value out of him. A big part of his range hit absolutely nothing. Maybe some kind of draws, but like a weak pair of 7s, a weak pair of 3s with a gut shot. There's so much weakness in his range that we're crushing right now, but we don't want him to fold. If we bet big, half pot, 3/4 pot, we're truly limiting his ranges to just calling with like ace king, ace queen, and sets. Like we're missing out on value. He's only calling or maybe raising with better hands. Making it 6 big blinds gets value out of the weaker stuff. So he ends up check and then calling. So we have to ask ourselves, what are they doing this with? And the whole plan behind your post-flop hand reading is you narrow the range based on information and actions. So what is he check calling us with? Sets, I think he can do that right now. I don't think there's any need for him to raise just yet because 36 big blinds in the pot after his call. We only have 80 behind. He can still get all our chips in. Now, I do think it would be a good idea to min raise to like 12 or 14 big blinds, something small, to try to extract value with his sets. But I think for one street, he can call with his sets, maybe planning on check raising on the next street, or even donk betting half pot or something, you know? I think he can do this with all of his top pair hands, just calling. Pocket pair less than top card. Remember, that's the reason we're betting only 1/4 pot. We want him to call with these. We think he can. So bam, let's include those in his what do you call it? In his range right here. Mid pairs, pocket pair less than second card. Let's put those in because those are paired on the board. Plus they have a gut shot if you look at those 3s and 4s. Flush cards, I think those are staying in as well. And the gut shots, they're already in right there. So really, I'm thinking 87% of his range is calling this small bet, even those sets right there. Now, an interesting lesson. This isn't a mistake in the hand, right? An interesting lesson is tiny bets fail to narrow ranges much, but get value from weak parts. As you can see, he's given us value with all of these under pairs that our ace queen is ahead of right now. We only narrowed the weakest of hands, the king jack and the jack 10. Oh, no mate hand, but they're still included with the flush draws. Like we literally just eliminated some of this stuff, not much at all. So we put that range in, and now we have 69% equity still against his calling range. All right, so let's get to the action of the turn. We have ourselves a 4 of hearts hit right now. Completed a couple draws, right? Also gave his pocket 4s trips now, but it's not the end of the world. You can see our equity dropped just a few percentage points, but it's down to 61% right now. Villain checks, and then this is, I think, a mistake. We checked behind. That's not necessarily a scare card. We could bet again for another 6, maybe another 1/4 pot, 9 big blinds. Roughly, and I think he might still call with all of these pocket pairs. So I think this check is a mistake because we're missing out on value on a non-scare card. But here's like the true lesson learned. So that's a mistake, missing out on value. But the lesson learned is checking behind fails to narrow ranges at all. So we don't know. Our check behind, he could have been planning on check folding, check calling, or check raising. We have no idea what he has right now because we checked behind. I shouldn't say we have no idea what he has. We haven't gained a better grasp, a better read on his range because we checked behind. So on the 4 hearts, we have to just put everything in his range. When it's at 100%, bam, we're still there. We've got 61% equity on this 4 of hearts now. All right, so let's get to this river action. It comes a 5 of clubs. Now, our equity goes from 61% up to 68%. Loving that increase in equity. Not a scare card for us. It wasn't a diamond. He didn't suddenly crush us by rivering a flush, right? So we love that. Now, here's the interesting thing. he checks. We can definitely read into this check right here 100%. On the prior street, let's imagine he had pocket threes, he just turned a straight. Pocket fours, hit a set. He had pocket deuces, and he still has trips. If he was planning on check raising for any reason, once we check behind, he's going to be bummed out that he missed out on value. On that 5, any kind of trips he has just now turns into quads or a full house. He's going to be betting for value. He just checked instead. So when that turn hits, he has 100% of his range still in right now. Well, he even has quads in right now. As soon as he checks, I really think we can remove quads, we can remove full houses, we can remove straights. There's no 3 of a kind possible because the board paired, full houses now, all that jazz. I really think we can remove maybe most of these top pair hands. So if we right click over here, hit X, I really think ace king would be betting for value. He doesn't want us to check behind. If we have pocket tens and we just bet one time on the flop, he could get value if he bets a simple 7 or 8 big blinds out of us, right? So I think his check means he doesn't have those. He might check with ace queen in fear that we have ace king. So really, just to get a little bit exacting here, I'm just removing ace king from his range right now for checking. Yep. So I'm thinking that he could be checking with that 72% range right there, a pretty good chunk, and we're getting value out of a ton of it. So what do? We bet. Love that bet right there. I would actually like it a little bit more. I think we can squeak out 7, 8, maybe 9 big blinds of value, make one more quarter pot bet, kind of matching what we did on the flop, just 25%. I think he can call with a ton of this stuff and give us value. So maybe we did miss out on 3 big blinds. Squeak out as much value as possible. Even 1 or 2 big blinds more. That just pads that win rate just a little bit more. And he ends up calling us right here. Okay, great. What does he have? Pocket nines, which we have in his range pre-flop and all the way through the streets. And it makes sense the way he played it. And I really like the value that we got on the flop and river bets. But I do think, like I said, we could have squeaked out a couple more big blinds right here. So an action step for you. Find a 3-betting hand that went to showdown and do a hand reading exercise right now. So you're reading a 3-bet caller's range. And once again, of course, don't forget to get that free PDF, Poker Training, The Ultimate Question, link in the description. And if you want to really turn yourself into a hand-reading monster, get the online poker hand-reading workbook. Link also in the description. 95 pages in this workbook, 38 hand-reading exercises and walkthroughs, 15 video demonstrations along with quizzes, and a 17-page answer key to check your work. Before you watch another video, please subscribe to my channel. And until next time, take action both on and off the felt to become the player that you want to be.